Well, now to a story about a special guy to all of us here at 12 News. You've probably seen Luke Lyddon anchoring sports or reporting out in the field.
That's right, and tonight he is giving us an inside look at a health battle that he faces and his message of hope for anyone facing adversity. Whether he's covering sports on TV,
over to the hardwood now for some Pac-12 tournament play,
or playing himself, getting in the game,
Shane Doan, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just an amateur.
has always been a part of Luke Lyddon's life.
Grew up playing hockey, so being active was always a part of my lifestyle, and it was something I always enjoyed. That was kind of my identity, I feel like, always trying to be moving in some kind of capacity.
But in 2018, he learned moving would be a bigger challenge than he ever thought possible.
And I'll never forget, on December 26th, the day after Christmas, I was working my old job in Greensboro. I get a call from a neurologist, and he says, do you have a moment?
Luke thought he had a pinched nerve, maybe a golfing injury, but an MRI showed something much more concerning.
He says, is there any way you can come in tomorrow? Because this is pretty serious. We found several lesions on your brain, and we need to try to tackle this because it's very indicative that you have MS, multiple sclerosis.
Multiple sclerosis, an autoimmune disease attacking his central nervous system, affecting his vision, speech, and mobility.
I had no idea what my life would look like. Would I be able to work again? Would I be in a wheelchair in a couple years? Would I be able to live a full, healthy life, a happy life? Am I going to die? I mean, I had no idea what even a lesion was.
At 26 years old, Luke changed his habits to fight back against the disease.
I changed my diet to gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free. And a week after changing my diet, the symptoms went away.
But they wouldn't stay away for long.
I had this horrible wave of what I could describe as vertigo. I mean, my vision, it was like I was on a rocking boat in a hurricane. And I step up to the tee, hit a shot, and I say, oh, it's coming back, and I collapse face first onto the ground.
This fall at the golf course would mark the start of Luke's darkest relapse with MS, forcing him to face his new reality.
I didn't want to go in the hospital every single month and get an infusion, and it's a heavy medicine. It's a lot on your body, and I didn't want to, but I knew I had to manage my disease and hopefully get to a place where I am today, where I'm thriving and finally at a place of acceptance with it.
Still, there is no cure, meaning for Luke and the nearly 2.8 million people worldwide living with MS, the strength to keep fighting comes from within and from the support of loved ones.
It still makes me emotional to this day. Just, people were there for me, and they still are. It's so ironic. I'm at a point now where I'm so grateful for my disease because it's changed my perspective in so many ways. I don't take things for granted. I work out religiously now because I got it taken away from me for so long.
Keeping up his own faith and being a source of strength for others, Luke never let the disease stop him from looking forward to the future.
So where do you see yourself 10 years, 20 years, 30 years when you do your meditation and you envision that life? What is it like?
It's a life full of just happiness, love, good health, success, living life without limitations. That's a big one. And, I've always envisioned myself helping others and trying to pick them up because I know how hard it is, and to try to just inspire that hope and give people another outlet to realize, oh, I can do this. I can make it through. I can be a warrior and beat my disease and live a life that I never thought was possible. I never thought this would be possible, but deep, deep down, I did. And I kept that faith, I kept that hope, I kept that positive thinking, and I hope down the road I can spread that message to as many people as possible that are dealing with MS or any other kind of ailment.
Well, Luke, first of all, thank you so much for letting us tell your story.
Of course.
I know we're so proud of you. Was it hard to talk about something so deeply personal?
That's a good question. At first, I was a little nervous, but looking back at my journey now and how far I've come, I felt I was at the best place now to be able to share my story with hopes of helping others with what they're going through, whether it's a disease or anything else. I felt since I'm in such a good place and I'm thriving right now, it just felt like the right time to do that.
You know, Luke, I've talked to a lot of people who have chronic diseases, and they say that while it's a terrible thing to have it, they almost always say they learned something important about themselves that they never knew. And I'm wondering, through this journey, what, if anything, you've learned about yourself?
A lot of things, but I think the number one thing would be my strength. I never knew how strong and resilient I really was until I was faced really with my rock bottom, with something I had never had to deal with before, something I never thought I would have to face. And through those dark times, you have to really push yourself through that to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And something else I really realized that I think is an important message for everyone is it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not want to get out of bed in the morning. It's okay to not want to have to fight every single day. But if you keep that faith deep down, keep that hope and keep that positive mindset and have compassion and kindness for yourself, you'd be surprised at how far you can come. Like this moment right now, it's a little surreal for me because when I was, you know, at my darkest days, I didn't think this would be possible, but I kept that hope, and you know, beautiful things can happen when you do that.
Yeah, you've said that you are now grateful, which I think a lot of people would hear that and say, how do you get to that point of being grateful for something like MS?
It's a process. Everyone has their own timeline. I think you learn so much about yourself, and if you can get through those dark times and come out on the other side, you're just grateful for maybe feeling normal again, or I'm so grateful I can work out again, or live life without limitations, and you start to not take things for granted, and you see life from a different perspective, and you're just very grateful to wake up each day, and if it's a day without symptoms, you tally up those small victories, and hopefully it blossoms into something much greater.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you're doing better.
Yes.
That's for
Appreciate
sure,
that, yes.
and we're so happy you're with Team 12.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
All right. Luke, keep fighting. Thank you.